and welcome back to the Smart Start Recreational Therapy Insights YouTube channel by Smart CU's Hub. I'm your host, Nathan Lamaster, the founder of Smart CU's Hub, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are on episode 29 now. Guys, 29. That means we're over halfway to our mark. 26 would have been halfway because we're trying to hit 52 episodes in 1 year, one for every week. And today's subject matter, we're going to be talking about ethics in recreational therapy and setting boundaries, professional boundaries. So a lot of rec therapists, because we are caring individuals, we get close with our clients and we develop relationships, friendships, hopefully just that it never goes farther, right? But when we are with clients and we're helping them and we're getting to know what makes them tick, it's really hard sometimes to keep that line solid, that line between real friends and friendly but professional. So this topic might not come with flashy visuals, right? But it's foundational in protecting our clients, okay? We have to protect them at all costs when we are serving them. And our reputations as well as recreational therapists and healthcare providers, and the credibility of our entire profession. So ethics and professional boundaries are important, and we need to discuss that today. So without further ado, guys, let's dive on in. All right, let's start with what are ethics in recreational therapy, okay? Ethics are moral principles, okay? They guide us in the way that we act and we behave. Okay, in recreational therapy, ethics show up in everything from how we document client behavior to how we navigate dual relationships. And the American Therapeutic Recreation Association, aka ATRA, their Code of Ethics book, which is actually here on my desk, outlines key principles like beneficence. So do good for the clients. Non-malfeasance, do no harm. Autonomy, respect the client's right to choose. Justice, be fair in service delivery. Veracity, be honest and truthful. Confidentiality and privacy, so we're going to protect sensitive information, like we have the HIPAA laws, okay? Competence, stay within our scope. And compliance, follow laws, policies, and professional standards. So these come from ATRA's Code of Standards, which are the main ones we use for our profession and what we do as recreational therapists. We should be following these as closely as possible in every instance that we have the opportunity. They're not just ideas, guys. They're obligations for recreational therapists to follow. Okay, now we're going to talk about professional boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines that separate your professional role from your personal involvement, okay? Common boundary areas include oversharing personal information with clients. So sometimes we want to relate to the clients. I know when I worked in behavioral health and people were telling me their deepest, darkest, things that they struggle with, things that really are really personal to them, right? And you have to actually determine where that line is in that setting. Obviously, you want to build that rapport between you and the client. So maybe something that you've done or you've dealt with, a story, might help to build that connection with that client to where you're able to earn their respect so that they will listen to you and go through the therapy as prescribed. However, you don't want to overshare and talk about, like, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I did all these things. And what are you worried about right now? Well, I'm worried about, my relationship with my wife. You don't want to talk about any of that stuff with your clients. That is inappropriate. So you got to set that boundary and know where that boundary lies. The information that you share with them, that you choose to share with them, should be for building that, bridging that respect and that connection with the client so that they trust you and they like you. They want to work with you. Okay? Becoming friends, actual friends with a client on social media. So don't be adding them afterwards and trying to connect with them on a deeper level. That sends the message that what you are doing as a professional, is going beyond that role as a professional. Giving or receiving gifts. Obviously, let's say you're doing something and the client draws you a picture and thinks and says, I made this for you, and it's their way of showing appreciation for whatever you did with them, right? That would probably be okay. However, let's say that they start buying you inappropriate gifts, like a guy, like a patient, starts coming to your office and bringing you flowers, or you do the same thing for them, other than it just being like maybe someone died in their family. Maybe it's a beyond what is normal and considered professional. So obviously expensive gifts like jewelry, never appropriate. Things like money, obviously, if it's paying for your services, yes. But if it's like I'm giving you a tip, or I'm asking for special favors or whatever else, obviously that's where that line should be, I think. And then working with someone you have a personal connection to outside of work. So in most therapies, let's say you went to see an LPC, like a counselor, and you knew that counselor outside of that setting, and they knew your spouse, they knew your kids, they go to your church, whatever the thing might be. That's when it would be ethically irresponsible for them to go see you, in the sense of it being a client professional relationship, because you guys are already friendly. You guys have gone beyond that. There's going to be things like they're not going to be able to look unbiasedly on the situation necessarily, because they know your spouse, they know your kid, they know whatever else. And that kind of clouds that line of professional services and help that you're giving those clients. So if that happens to you as a recreational therapist, it is advised that you find another recreational therapist to go see them, and to start that professional relationship where there is no friendship from the beginning. Okay. Even when intentions are good, blurred boundaries can lead to misunderstandings, dependency, or even harm to clients, and we don't want to provide any harm. When in doubt, ask, is this the action that I'm doing? Is it the best action in the best interest of my client, or is this more about me? All right, let's talk about some common ethical dilemmas in recreational therapy. And here are some situations you just might face. Okay, a client invites you to their birthday party. Okay, you're like, well, they like me enough and they want me to go to their birthday party. And should you attend? No, you probably shouldn't attend, unless you're the one hosting the birthday party and it's like for, let's say, clients in a nursing home or in a group home, and everybody there is, living there and you're hosting it. But if it's to like their house or to a restaurant or something and it's outside of your work, you shouldn't do that. Okay. You see another staff member cross the boundary. Should you report it? Yes. Okay. The answer is yes. You should report anybody crossing boundaries. First, talk to the person. I think it's respectful that you talk to the person, and maybe their intentions aren't bad. So before you go and get them in trouble with an authority figure should just talk to the person and see, like, okay, maybe they weren't intending it to be that way. And that's really helpful. Okay, a client confides something serious to you, so something really serious, and asks you not to tell anyone. Okay, do you keep it confidential? So the way I like to look at this, for instance, let's say you're doing a one-on-one with a client, and I'll go back to my experience in behavioral health. Okay, so you're working one-on-one with a client. They're talking to you about stuff, and let's say they say anything about self-harm, suicide, hurting someone else, homicide. Maybe it's something that they're planning on doing, like I'm going to blow up a school, or I'm going to, I don't know, do something, steal from someone, whatever it is. If it involves harm to themselves or to another person, and they're telling you to keep that quiet, you definitely should report it. It's your obligation to report it, because you might be saving a life even. And so you shouldn't keep it quiet. There's nothing that would prevent you from talking to the appropriate people if that is the case. Okay. Let's say they tell you about a crush that they have on someone else on the unit. Obviously, you don't need to say anything because it's not going to cause any harm, most likely. But if it was like an inappropriate crush where the person wasn't reciprocal and they're like, get away from me, and you already know that there's a problem there, obviously you should talk to the client and say, you shouldn't do that. We're going to have to make sure that you don't do that. Because that might be causing harm to that person, right? And you don't want that person to have any harm done to them. So really keep that in mind. Okay, another might be you are asked to do something outside your scope of practice. Okay, should you just do it just this once? No. Let's say they ask you to go to the store and go pick up something for them because they're in an inpatient psych setting, and they're like, hey, I got some money from my friend, but I can't get it. Could you go to the store and buy me these boots or buy me this thing? Okay, so unless it's like they're barefoot and they don't have shoes, and getting shoes for them might be beneficial to where they're able to participate in their therapy better and have a better quality of life, doing that special favor for just that one patient is crossing a boundary. So you shouldn't be doing that, okay? Those types of things. The answer to these questions often lie in consulting the Code of Ethics. So that book we have right here from ATRA's book. And you're also your supervisor and your people at work. What are your policies at work? You should be following those. Okay, so when the stakes are high, just seek support. Ask somebody else. That's the best rule of thumb, right? When you don't know the answer, ask somebody else and see, okay, is this crossing a boundary, or is this something that's inappropriate? And lo and behold, you'll probably find the answer, okay? All right, now let's talk about some documentation and ethics. So as recreational therapists, we are documenting what we're doing, okay, and what the client's doing. Your documentation should be objective and not emotional. You shouldn't tie your own personal emotions to it. It should be like, hey, this patient during the session had their head down, instead of saying the patient was sad. You can observe their head being down. You can observe tears falling out of their face. You can observe the sound of crying. But it shouldn't be you're determining what it is that they're feeling, okay? That's going a little bit beyond what you might say that they appear to be sad, but you're not saying that with a fact, right? Your documentation should be client-centered and not judgmental. You're not there to judge their actions, you're there to report on their actions, okay? Your documentation must be free of jargon. So, and that could be misinterpreted. So, You're not going to be writing emojis in your documentation. You're not going to be saying that the patient was acting whack, or the patient got slapped upside the head because he was being a little annoying snitch, or something like that. You shouldn't say any of those things. I'm giving you some examples. There's a million different examples out there. So it should be free of jargon, professional, and stick to the facts. Stick to things that are objective and that you are seeing. It should be accurate, timely, and secure. It should be done in a way that is safe. So like e-charting on the computer that is HIPAA safe. Shouldn't be done in an email where someone else can, get access to that. It shouldn't be written down on a piece of paper that's in the middle of the room where everybody can see it. Those types of things. What you write will be and can be reviewed in audits. So if you get audited, what you write will be reviewed. In court cases even, and by family sometimes. Okay, so never write something you wouldn't be comfortable reading aloud in those settings to those people, or in a professional meeting. Never write any of those things in your documentation. And also, never falsify records ever. Okay, that's a big deal, right? If you are putting somebody saying that they attended a group and they didn't attend the group, or if you are, just doing a generic templated post that you create, or a templated documentation note, and it says that stuff that isn't even true, it wasn't even part of the meeting, but you just wanted to do it so you can get done with it faster. Don't falsify the records. All right, so staying ethical in a messy world. Here's how you stay on track. Got this ATRA Code of Ethics, Standards of Practice book. Okay, review it every once in a while. Review it when you have questions. It's there for you. Ask your supervisor when you're unsure. Ask coworkers when you're unsure. Does this cross any boundaries? Attend ethics-focused continuing education courses. We have an ethics course on Smart CU Sub, which you could take at any time you'd like. It's a great course that you will learn a lot from. Journal or debrief with colleagues to reflect on difficult moments. Set clear expectations with clients and coworkers even. And being ethical isn't always easy, right? But it's always worth it. Let's wrap things up for today. Ethics and boundaries aren't about limiting your care. They're about protecting the people we serve and the work that we do. If you model respect, honesty, and fairness, you create a safe space for healing and growth. All right, next week we'll be talking about program development and implementation, okay, and how to build effective, sustainable, and meaningful RT programs. You won't want to miss it. Guys, I'm interested, as we were talking about ethics today, have you ever run across any ethical dilemmas in your practice? Have you had anyone that you saw do something unethical? Have you? You probably don't want to call yourself out. Or maybe there was something that you saw and you handled it correctly. These examples are really important for other recreational therapists to learn from and to grow. Obviously, our goal is to serve our clients. We love them. We think that they're awesome. And we also need to make sure that those boundaries are there for their protection and for ours. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode 29, and happy Monday. I hope your week goes great as you are out there helping the clients in ethical ways. And guys, as always, our sign off, stay classy, recreational therapists.